welcome inside the Parisi Palace, high above 3773 East Broadway. This is a live edition of the Jake Feinberg Show, comedy on Power Talk. Please go to our website, powertalk.live. Download our free app to your smartphone so you can stream all of our live local programming, including Solomon on Blast, the Jim Parisi Show, and yours truly, the Jake Feinberg Show. Can't thank you enough for making us part of your day today. It's been a long day. Been cranking out a lot of work, but it is high time. I reconnected with a divine spirit over the summer, and she's really like an authentic musician who enjoys taking chances, and she's able to put herself out there, and she's very, I don't know, just I really got off on hanging out with her. We had a ball doing Facebook Live, and it really took off all the way back to her hometown of Silverton, and got a chance today to reconnect with her telephonically. Justine Bennett, welcome back to the Jake Feinberg Show.
Hey, Jake. Thanks for having me back.
So, I mean, you performed a lot this summer. Did you perform as a leader?
As a leader this summer? No, I didn't perform a lot as a leader this summer. I had a lot of background gigs this year.
How do you but just take one of the background gigs and explain to the peeps listening around the world how you stay stimulated, how you get off on I mean, I'm not saying being an accompanist is bad, but I mean, as somebody who is a born leader, how do you still get off as an accompanist?
Oh, am I a born leader? I don't know if I am.
Well, that's okay. You're still growing.
I've always loved being a support to other people. So it's actually kind of nice because I've never been a real attention seeker. So it's nice for me to be able to feel like I'm a part of, but you still get to feel the magic. You know what I'm saying? Like you get to be a part of it, but you don't have to be the ringleader.
That's really
funny.
There's
something
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's something really cool about that, and I love it, and I always have. So
well, I mean, explain what's cool. What's cool about it? Because I think that we have like the rock and roll flu or like syndrome where it's like look at me, look at me, look at me. So the ego is really heavy, especially in pop music, and
totally.
And so like I mean, like explain what is so satisfying about that role.
I guess, well, like I just said, it's like I get to be a part of it, but I don't have to be, the pressure isn't all on me. So I get to just be myself and have fun, but not have the anxiety of being the one that's carrying the show.
Can you talk a little bit about the angst of having to carry a show, and is that an area where you spend too much time thinking about it? I only ask because we lost. I'm not used to loss in my life. We lost a good friend to me, a dear friend to many, Neil Casal today, and
I heard. I didn't know him, but I have 100 friends that.
Yeah, I mean, his spirit superseded who he was even as a human being. He was just and it was a beautiful spirit. And he was always growing as a musician, and you guys obviously would have had a great time. But the guy, however you break it down, he in our first interview, I think, he basically just talked about loving being second in command. He did the pressure was not there to have to, be the man every night and come to play, and that whatever. He loved that role. He loved being in that supportive role, what you just riffed on. So can you give it a specific example of a time, even in this recent tour, where just the music went to a different level and you were completely outside of yourself?
Well, I don't know if it really happened on this tour. We were playing in movie theaters a lot.
I mean, I think that's the best. I think that's the best place to get off. Actually, go ahead.
Elevated moments. Actually, no, there were some great moments I've never played in like a real movie theater before.
I think that's so
cool.
That's what they used to do. They used to do that. They used to bring in all the cats from back in the day. They'd have the cartoons, a movie, and then at intermission break, a live band would play in the movie house. So, I mean, I think the acoustics
Really?
are all the jazz. I mean, that was like where Lionel Hampton played and all those cats and absolutely. So it was multi-entertainment kind of place. But I think that I think that's
really cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, what was it like sonically for you in these movie houses as it relates to the projection of your voice?
Well, it's kind of everyone was different, so we just had to be very adaptable, very adaptable, I guess. If it was a small little place, like a lot of the landmark theaters are really small art houses with actually great sound systems. That was great, and there were a couple of moments where we had to just go totally acoustic, which is actually my favorite. I love singing with other voices not amplified. There's something so real and special and in the moment about it that you really have to listen to each other. You have to blend. It's a whole other art. So I guess maybe that was one of the moments. I forget what theater it was, but we ended up not getting a sound system. It was a mistake, and we had to make do with just what we had and just go totally.
Well, I mean, come on.
Totally
I mean, Justine. Steve Cropper from Stax Records. They had 4 mics and whatever. They cut Green Onions, and that tune is still being played since 1952. So you're dealt the hand that you have. In fact, the mistake or the technology not showing up behooved you, because then you were able to have total natural ambient acoustic sound, which is really the most spiritual.
Totally agree. I love it.
Man.
I love it. That's why I love playing house concerts. They're my favorite concerts to play because
Great paying
you're
concerts.
just in
Great paying
a
concerts.
living room, and they pay.
It's just interesting, the simpatico we're already developing here, 10 minutes in. We have a game on this program called Name That Voice. I don't expect you to know who it is, but I want you to pay attention to the content, and then we'll come back and break it down.
Okay.
Dinah Washington's club, there was Sleepy Anderson was playing organ.
Oh, boy.
And Leo Clem was on guitar. And, man, they just turned him up. And yeah, it was, I can't remember it never swinging. It was just always swinging. And that was the kind of clubs I was working around there. And then I got lucky with I joined bands like we had Eddie Harris.
Oh, my God. Exodus to Jazz is one of the seminal albums.
Yeah, see, that was the #1 jazz record to sell 1 million records. No matter what anybody tries to say today, that was the first one.
You're absolutely 100% right, dude. Joe DiOrio, that album is ridiculous.
Right. Thank you. And then off there, I bounced off.
That wasn't actually the clip I wanted to play you, but it's okay.
I have no idea who that is.
No, because you know what's so badass about it? That was Harold Jones, who's the 83-year-old drummer who is still drumming for Tony Bennett all the time.
No, 83.
83, still swinging. Tony
cute.
Bennett's 91.
Get out.
I'm serious. They're I mean, it's it's a little more contrived, not as loose, but and then so Harold lives out in Marin County. I interviewed him on the radio there, and what I wanted to read you was something he said here. And I just want you, because you were just riffing on it. He said,
okay, cool.
Playing in different bands in different kinds of rooms, you learn how to play with volume according to what you were hearing. I always had to do mine physically and acoustically. And that's what I wanted to talk to Justine Bennett about, is what could be good. What he was talking about as a drummer was that the organ player was totally amplified. The guitar player was amplified to the max, right? I mean, they were just blowing out. He had no amplification. He had to amplify his sound through physicality and through the acoustics of the room. And so I want you to go a little bit deep here and talk about when you're in a room, especially when you, like the one where the equipment didn't show up and you had to sing acoustically, how you generate sound physically and acoustically.
Oh, like from my body? Or
Yes, yes.
I don't know how it works. I just do it.
Okay, so
No.
I mean, is that bordering on the metaphysical? You can't put that into words. I mean, what I'm trying to say is like, what muscles are you using? What are you doing differently as opposed? Most people would rely on. I mean, all the cats coming up, they had no amplification. You know, they had
Yeah.
to do it themselves, and
Yeah.
more.
I get what you're saying.
I know, yeah. Well, I mean, whatever. You can riff on it any way you want, but I mean, when you're in a room like that, obviously you're sharing vocals. I mean, you guys obviously have a good rapport. You're not screaming over each other, but I mean, try to riff on that any
You
way you
just
want.
blend, man. You just blend. I mean, I don't know. It's a skill. It's a skill to know how to blend, but you have to listen. And you have to know, like, who's singing at what moment and if that's their moment and let them have it. And, you know, it's kind of like guys sharing guitar solos. You just have to listen to each other.
Right.
It's like playing, it's like being on the playground. And you just have to, like, everybody has to have their moment, and you just learn to listen to when that moment is, I guess. Or you know the song well enough that you just know when certain people need to come down and others need to go up.
How come, like, do you want, I mean, is part of your, we talked about this last time, you know, going on these, you know, epic road trips, and I talked to you a lot about, you know, leading a band, and I just wonder if that is something that is still something that you aspire to do.
Yeah, definitely. I think over the years I've gotten better at knowing what I want and how to get it. You know, like I think we talked about this last time too, basically myself, because that's what I'm used to, and you know, with we talked about my hearing issues and stuff.
Yeah, actually, to me is I think you are absolutely. That is one of the greatest miracles of all time, and you know, but those things happen to the people they're supposed to happen to. I mean, it's really remarkable story. No, I mean, I'm glad you agree, Justine, because that touched my heart, that story.
Aw.
But, no, because you could have been you could have been kicked to the curb at that point.
Could have been kicked.
You could have been kicked, and you and but no, not you. Anyway.
Well, sometimes it gives you an extra boost. You know, you have something that you have to overcome, and it just gives you that extra amount that maybe you need, that maybe somebody else where everything comes easy doesn't have that. You know, the extra fire where it's like, you know, now I have to do this thing. So I'm grateful for it.
And you can definitively say when you're singing, when you're blending, like there are no issues as it relates to you not hearing other cats or things like that. Like your hearing is back.
Yeah. You know, I've figured out how to work with what I've got, which a lot of musicians do. Like, I don't know if you've interviewed so many musicians, but many musicians have hearing problems.
You know, it's funny. I've seen people like talk about that. But
it's very common. People
Sure.
don't talk about it because it's embarrassing, or they think they're not going to get a gig or whatever. But
it's peer pressure.
It's very, very common for somebody who's blasted their ears for their whole entire life of music to not be able to hear very well as they age. But human beings are so adaptable. We're so adaptable, and we just make do with what we have in the moment that we have it.
I love that. You know, that's a great line. I mean, you're talking about adaptability right now. It's unbelievable. I mean, I guess when you're on the road, you have to be that way too, though.
Oh, you have to be so adaptable on the road, for sure. You have to just be willing to just roll with whatever comes and be uncomfortable. Being on the road is very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I bet. Can you? I mean, what was the most gratifying? I don't know what the right word is. I mean, like, I felt just such a drive from you, like almost the Lewis and Clark spirit. And then I see, like, who are your compadres that you're always blending with? Who are these cats? Like, what? I mean, this is like an amalgamation of almost like avatars.
But you mean like who do I sing with?
Yeah, well, I mean, you post some videos. I mean, you don't produce a lot of. I mean, you have a lot of content, but you don't post a lot. But the stuff you post is always with your compadres, and I'm like, who are? I'm like, who are these? Who are these characters? You know?
There's so many cool people in my life. So many.
I'm not. I'm
extremely talented.
I'm not doubting that. I'm trying to figure out who they are. I mean, I'm trying to get hip to it. You know?
Well, I mean, I sing with a lot of people. I sing in a band called Echo in the Canyon, and the front runner is Jacob Dylan, formerly of the Wallflowers and Bob Dylan's son. And he's the band leader, along with this girl, Jade Castrinos, who's so wonderful and lovely and gorgeous and sings like an angel. She used to be in Edward Sharpe and Magnetic Zeros, and so we're this sort of power band. I don't know. And then the rest of the band is actually the band that plays Tuesday nights at the Kibitz Room in Hollywood.
Oh, wow.
In the Cantor's Deli.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. But they're all...
Wait, are you singing there?
I mean, I sing with the band. I don't sing at Cantor's or at the Kibitz Room very often.
Oh, wow. Well, maybe you can make an exception. You know, that would be so great to see you at Cantor. Yeah, no. I mean, what do you talk? This leader, this. I mean, she obviously sounds like she is deserving of being a leader. But what is, aside from her abilities, what makes her a good leader?
Where you see them perform and you just are, it's awestruck. And Jade has that. She has that star quality.
The wow factor. I think you have the wow factor.
That's nice of you to say.
No, I mean, I'm serious. I think it's definitely, listen, I mean,
it's a different kind of wow. It's like a folky lulling.
No. I think that you're willing to be yourself to a point where it's you, but it's not necessarily like it doesn't conform to mainstream or mod popularity per se. You dig what I'm saying? Like it's not modern popularity. It's just so cutting edge and so hip, and sometimes you don't even know it. So it's like it's. I mean, it's there, but I mean, so I mean, you get starry-eyed for her, or does she just treat everybody like she would want to be treated? Because there's just
yes. Oh my God, yes, she's so that person. She's kind to everyone. Yes, she's wonderful, and her voice is amazing. So that's a really beautiful friendship that I've been able to form being in that band, and yeah, I have a lot of relationships like that. I just got back from Bosnia. Did I talk to you before I went to Bosnia?
No, it's been so long. No.
Yeah. I think I did. So I traveled to Bosnia with a really good friend, Valida, who grew up there and was throwing the first ever yoga festival in Bosnia, and she had a musical component. And she invited like 8 of us to come from LA to play this festival. And 2 of the other women that were coming, I had met a few times through Desert Nights and a couple of gigs that we'd done, but never really. In LA, everything's so spread out that it's really hard to make a friendship because
it's hard to have friends.
Places.
Yeah, it's hard to have friends. I dig.
Get to that point where you spend enough time with somebody that you know that you actually want to be their friend.
That's kind of deflating and also interesting. There's no other dynamic like that anywhere in the world, probably.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. But we ended up on this like 2-week adventure together, myself and these 2 other women, and just like clicked instantly as soon as we got off the plane, and then we started working up music together and singing together, and it's turned into like a lifelong bond friendship. And the women, and they're incredible. Laura Bird is one of the girls' names, and Doe Paro is another. And yeah, it's so magical when you meet a kindred spirit, I guess, in this business. They're hard to come by, and I feel like I've met a lot in my short, lifetime of doing this. And it just makes it worth it, and it gives you the sort of push that you need to keep going, to have other powerful women doing the same thing that you are, or trying to do the same thing.
No, I mean, it's it's important. Why is the this is more of an esoteric question, but why is it important to have a strong divine female presence on the bandstand, just for society? I mean, you made it very clear that it's emboldening to have strong, independent women on the bandstand. So, I mean, explain how that can expand consciousness and or partly heal the human animals that we are.
Well, it's like having divine mothers everywhere.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is it.
Yeah, it's I don't know how to put it really into words, but
what's a divine mother? I mean that's not in scripture. What does that mean?
Well, I think we all crave that connection with like a mother figure or spirit, the spirit of the mother, and it's even more powerful when it's coming through musically. And we just need to hear the female voice or doing something extraordinary.
I want to be clear though, and I'm just being, I want to know, because I mean, my daughters and I, we listen to Court and Spark in the car every day. It's just always Joni Mitchell all day long. So, you say you need to hear the female voice, but how do you, in your mind, where does the germ of a song come from, and also where do you derive melodies from? Because I think that it would be surprising for a lot of lay people, not musicians, but a lot of guitar players get a lot of melodies from horn players, and I'm always wondering about so it's not always the instrument that you're a part of, and I'm just curious about the harmonic and melodic structures of Justine Bennett.
Well, I don't really know where it comes from.
Well, you're really a folk. I love you're such a folkie. I love it.
It comes from a collective. Probably comes from everything that I've ever listened to. It is it's something that's really hard to describe, songwriting. I've heard other songwriters describe it as it's coming from somewhere divine, and there's definitely an aspect of that for sure sometimes, where it just comes through and you're not even sure how or why, and it happens really quickly and you feel like you're just a vehicle. Other times it's almost like a workshopping thing. You just sit down and I just play with different melodies until there's something that hits my ear right. And usually you know that it's hitting. Because, I've written a lot of really not great songs. And I think I've written a few great songs. It doesn't come super easily, though. It's a lot of work.
Well, I mean, let's be clear. It's one thing to write a song, and it's one thing to write a great song. You're also being very subjective. I mean, I don't know if you're always the best judge of what you produce, but I think that, is it fair to say that, I mean, like someone like Cass McCombs, he doesn't, as far as lyricists, he doesn't listen to any lyricists because he doesn't want to be influenced. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm like Justine, I feel like you're a road dog. I mean, you're listening to a lot of radio. I mean, are you trying to block that out so you don't get influenced, or do you want? I mean, do you want to get off on being influenced?
I've never really been influenced. I didn't. I don't think I don't love being influenced. I'd rather it just come to me naturally and not that you're copying somebody, but I definitely am not rolling like with what's popular, I guess. I'm rolling with what makes me tick and like who I authentically think that I am, and the sound that is coming out I hope represents that. It feels like it does to me.
Is it from a general time period, or is it from all over the place? And also, is it important for are you listening to a lot of instrumental music and getting melodies or fitting lyrics into that?
I don't listen to a lot of instrumental stuff, but I definitely start usually with an instrumental and add the melody over it just as my writing
Can you give me like an example of because I mean I thought your guitar playing was really just fantastic.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I'm curious. I mean, I feel like these, I just always want people to stretch out, but I assume that if you have a book of poems or, songs or stories that, maybe you'd find the rhythm section on that you really that you love and that you would sing to that or, find a groove somewhere like that.
Yeah, I don't. That's a way that a lot of people write. Like rhythmically, they'll start with some sort of a beat or something. I'd like to experiment with that more. It's not really the way that I roll, but usually I'll just be sitting and I just sort of start strumming something or finger picking something on the guitar, and then sometimes that will just spark an idea.
Well, we have another name that voice for you. You're not going to get it, but I want you to listen to it, and we'll come back and break it down.
Right
on. I'll just kind of take just for myself, kind of take the drama, the drama needle down a little bit, or So I'll tell you this. When I was a kid, I was drawn to music because something in me wanted to get out of where I was, playing the guitar and singing were the only things that were going to get me out of my little town. And, there's nothing really wrong with my little town where I come from, But in my dramatic young mind, the idea of a mundane life, sort of what I saw as like a dead-end kind of life, which it doesn't necessarily have to be for everybody, of course, because I still have many friends right where I come from. So I'm not speaking down to anyone or speaking badly about anything or a place, because every place is just wherever you are, so it's fine. But for me, the way I saw it was I had to get out. And there was only one way for me to do that, and that was by playing music and singing. So there was and still remains a certain, I don't know, there's a certain desperation there, or not that I'm desperate for anything, but there is a pleading, there is a needing to do it that I can't even fully explain to this day. While I was surfing a little while ago, I was thinking about this. I was thinking about how songwriting is constantly gnawing at me. The idea of writing songs and the need to write what I feel are good songs gnaws at me stronger than almost anything else in life. I have no children, so I thought about it. I thought, does the idea of having a family gnaw at me as hard as this? No, it doesn't, actually. Other things fade into the background. When I'm really honest with myself, like writing songs, playing music, singing definitely, factors in for me too. There is a true need to do it. I don't know if I would fucking die if I didn't. I might not die. I might have to figure something else out, because, living life is a beautiful thing. So I don't want to think that I'd have to die without anything. There's infinite ways to live a life, so maybe something else could be figured out. But I'd rather not face that prospect, that's for sure.
I am actually almost speechless, which doesn't happen that much, but I mean, that was my interview with Neil Casal from June of 2017.
Oh.
And I forgot that he said that. There's many ways to live life. I mean, I also want to be clear with you on, and this is just my speculation. I don't think he committed suicide. I don't think he took his life. I think it was either he OD'd or something else. There's no rhyme or reason how it went down. That being said, because I have no inside information, I wanted to ask you about this issue, this idea of the song. He talked about it, I think, pretty emphatically about the idea of songwriting gnawing at him and the need to do it. The need to do it. Now, I mean, I know
I related to a lot of things that you said.
Can you just stream it? Just the floor is yours, my angel. Like just riff on what resonated with you on that, because I wanted to play Neil's voice in the atmospherics today, because I mean, there's a gaping hole in leadership with him gone.
Yeah.
And so you could just tell from that clip that, he's a pretty deep guy, and he's great guys. So anyway, you can just go on off any way you want.
Well, I just, first of all, I can relate so deeply to what he was saying about, growing up in a small town and feeling like there was only one way out. I definitely felt like that.
You felt the same way, right? I couldn't believe that when I heard that. I said, Justine must have known that music was her way out too.
Just, at a young age or not, I definitely like really that really hit deep. And I loved how you said, that was for me. It's not necessarily for everybody else, because I feel like that too, where it's like, for me, I couldn't stay and be happy with just, staying in the place that I grew up, in the small place that I grew up. But for other people, they can be perfectly happy doing that. And I oftentimes, I don't get jealous, but I just sort of wish that maybe that I could have just been okay with that as well, because it would have been a lot easier.
Because you want to have a family.
Yeah, I want to have a family, and I'm sort of getting older, and so that.
And by the way, you're not, okay? Like many more women than ever before are having babies into their 40s, and you would be just fine with that too.
That's true, but it's tough when that biological clock starts.
Don't limit your. How do you know? How do you even know? You don't know.
I don't know.
But here's the thing though. So you can relate to that. I mean, I also don't think that Neil, even though that's just his personality, he just wants to preface everything and make sure he doesn't offend anybody. I don't think you have to preface it. That's just your vibe. You couldn't deal, and you got out. You go back, you see people seemingly happy, and hopefully they are. There's also a lot of dysfunction. There's also a lot of dysfunction, though. I mean, I'm not. You're like an enlightened person. Justine Bennett is enlightened, whether she lives in Boise, Idaho, Kentucky, or in Long Beach, or Southern California. But there's a lot of dysfunction in those small towns. There's a reason why you were gasping for air.
Yeah, I guess you're right. And then what was the other? He said something else.
Well, no, you know what it was? It was the idea of because like you talked about, so much of the stuff is organic with you. You want the stuff to come to you ideally, but I guess when you're multitasking or when your energies are elsewhere, is there that gnawing quality?
Yes, all the
And
time.
can you talk a little bit about like
Every
how
day.
how do you? Boy, that clip scared the crap out of me because that validates my whole thing even more. Hearing that's not a guy who's. It's not possible what he did. It's just not true.
Yeah.
It doesn't add up. It's weird. Anyway, I'm sorry. I don't want to get off
Oh,
on
that
conspiracy
breaks,
theories.
no, that totally breaks my heart listening to him.
Oh, I'm really glad
He
I got.
sounded like such a cool guy.
Dude, he's I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
He was the coolest. I mean, he was just approachable and cool. Like it's. Um, uh, it doesn't add up either. It doesn't, and even hearing that was eerie. But I want to talk about gnawing for Justine Bennett.
Well, I wake up every day and feel like I have to write a song today.
So is that something that is? But I mean, let me ask you: when you get there to that place, wherever it is in your routine in the early morning, whatever, is that something that you approach with joy, or do you allow yourself to get into a flow and then hope that it comes organically?
I don't know. It's gone through different phases over the years. I used to wake up and do 10 minutes timed just stream of consciousness writing in the morning to sort of get things flowing, and that was really cool. I could kind of pull from that writing, and sometimes a song would come out of it. Lately, because I have other work that kind of gets in the way, I kind of jump to that first, which I would. It's better if I just grab a cup of tea and sit down and do music first, because it's the best when you've just woken up. You're super open when you've just woken
Absolutely.
from sleep.
Oh yeah.
And then as the day goes on, it's like things just kind of pile on, and so it comes a lot easier in the morning, I find.
I mean, I would love to hear some of those. I know you don't have that book handy, but man, I think we need to get really good, do a deep dive into those early morning poems.
It's not really even a poem. It's more like you do one object, and you do object writing, and you kind of try to describe it from all of your senses.
Mm-hmm.
So from your sight, from your kind of body of writing skills. But lately, I don't know. I'm a little discombobulated lately.
I know.
But I did write a song this week, and there's nothing better than finishing a song. There is no better feeling than completing a song that you love. It feels like such an accomplishment, and it's just like you just are riding on a cloud for a day after you write a song. It's the best.
Yeah, I love that feeling. Well, I know just love the feeling of being able to float along on that frequency for a day. You have no, like, even, I mean, in Neil's case, he was like a co-collaborator with Chris Robinson when that band was in effect, and did a lot of writing. I always get off more on the musician than the music itself. I mean, I just love the people themselves. So I can't speak to being like an aficionado or like some like I love Neil just because he was Neil. But my question is, do you do it in? I mean, do you have? How quickly after that does the gnawing come? Like, does the gnawing then come? I need to write another song, or do you want to figure?
No, you get like a couple days, right? From the 9. If it's a good song, maybe you get a week.
But you don't have.
Back.
I mean, you don't have the gnawing or the inner urge to say, well, okay, I want to take this one step further and perform this in front of peeps.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the real birth of a song, when you play it for the first time in front of people. And that's a special thing too, because then it's out there into the world. And now with technology and people filming everything, it's not like you can go back and say, oh, that's not really how I want that Like once you put the song out there, you got to make sure that it's what you want to put out there, because there's no real turning back. You can't really edit once it's been
Do you
released.
do you subscribe to the? I'm curious. Maybe you're evolving in this way, but I was talking to a keyboard player last week or 2 weeks ago, and he just said a lot of cats are too skittish to put up content. They should be putting out a lot of content all the time, and people get hung up on perfection. They'll hold off on stuff for years and not release it because it just doesn't. It's never gonna be perfect. I mean, if I had, by and large, I think, I mean, I get constructive criticism about like volume levels on my iPhone. Like, I get it. Like, I need to invest in new technology. I need more advertising sponsors. Like, I need to like grow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But at the same time, it's like, I still just.
At least you're doing something.
I mean, I would hope that it's absolutely not. I would hope
it's
it's more than something. I mean, it's more like it's like a niche, and it's like I'm going to go out and do it, and I'm going to put it out for people, and I'm just gonna produce, because all I want to do is.
You're doing a lot more than other people are. That's that. I mean, not that at least you're just doing something. You're doing something amazing, but at least you're doing something. A lot of people aren't doing anything.
Well, that's the thing. I would never succumb to that idea of defeated. Like, that would be. I mean, there'd be no reason to. That's the reason to if you don't have a purpose. But if you have your purpose, and I. At this point, I mean, you're. What do you need to have happen for you in order to get into a situation where you're not discombobulated? I'm not just talking like on a day-to-day basis. I'm talking like getting into like, like, again, I mean, I just want to see you be successful in what your purpose is, like it,
Well, one of my best girlfriends came over the other night, and we cooked dinner, and we were jamming and playing music, and she's like a very big supporter of mine, and I'm a very big fan of hers. We play very different styles of music. And she's so cute. She actually started writing out a list of all of my new songs that are going to go on my album. And just to see it, I'm actually looking at it right now, just to see it written down on a piece of paper, that was just a critical step that needed to happen just for me to figure out what songs went together and what didn't fit, and just helped me come up with a little bit more of a plan. And now now I've got that little seed of a plan, and the next step is to take these songs and demo them, just guitars and vocals. And then I think I'm gonna look for a producer to work with, so that I'm not relying on just myself.
Yeah, I just please find somebody that is not that you can work well with.
Oh, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, I mean, you think that way, and then all of a sudden you're just like you're living. Have you worked with producers before?
I have. I've worked with producers, and I've produced myself, and yeah, if it's the right fit, it's wonderful, and you can get so much more out of a song than I can just do by myself. I really want, I feel like I've done the work, and I really want somebody else to infuse it with something else.
It's interesting you say that. It's interesting. No, it's just so interesting that you said. It's just beautiful the way you put that, because I'm not going to be long-winded about it, but I've been looking for a volleying partner for my book, for my first volume, for a long time, and the spirit always. I feel very protected by it, but I will say that you said you want to find somebody to you've paid the cost to be the boss. That's what James Brown said. You paid the cost to be the boss. So I mean, you want somebody to come in and infuse what for Justine Bennett? You're not like a slick, polished. I mean, like I said, you're like postmodern psych folk shaman.
Yeah, I just want somebody who gets that vision with me.
I dig.
to bring stuff to the table that I can't, because I can't do everything. And I don't want to do everything.
That's right.
I want somebody else's creativity. It's boring if it's just mine. You know, and I'm always second guessing myself, and I never know if it's the right decision. And I'm always it takes so long if I ever want to do something, and it's just me. I need somebody else. I need a collaborator.
Good. Yeah, well, but right. I mean, I can't. This is a Rubik's Cube, and, you know, we lost this, like, enigma today, Neil Casal, who had what appeared on the surface to be so many opportunities. So many, and what I just like about you is your stick-to-itiveness. I mean, you, would you consider yourself on a mission at this point, or are you still distracted by the banalities and the necessities of life? I mean, are you able to? Do you feel like you are able to fully invest, or do you want to invest more in your mission as a singer-songwriter leader?
I do, and that's the gnawing. It's like, I know that I could do more and be better. So, I do want to.
Well, I'm here to. That's why I'm here, to make sure that to push you to the next level, because
I appreciate it. I need it.
Yeah.
I need a little nudge.
Well, and also, I mean, it's just it also requires you having to go outside of your comfort zone. So that also is.
Which is what I'm doing right now. I'm terrified of giving interviews.
Yeah, but
and this is the second one.
Right, we're having we just cooked for 50 minutes here, and I was going to say that I'm out your way next. Are you going back on the road, or are you going to be in town? Because I'm going to be up in your neck. I'd love to come see you.
I'm around.
All right, so maybe we can make it. Let's try to make it happen on Thursday or Friday next week, because I'll be up in that neck of the woods.
Cool, man.
All
and
right.
then I can maybe I can debut my new song.
Yeah, well, that's what happened. What were the names of the songs you never played before?
The ones I never played before?
The one in our first interview, you said. I remember you made a mention of that in the post. You said, I don't.
Oh yeah. Well, I think one of them was this new song called "For All of Time." Oh, I played an older song that I definitely have played before, but haven't recorded yet.
Do you feel like you can you sing "For All of Time" right now?
Sure. Do you like that one?
I just want to hear your voice.
Well, here, why don't I do this new one?
Okay. Sounds great.
Let me just quickly, I know, sorry, we're on the radio, but let me just quickly give a tune, because...
Yeah, it's fine. I'm talking to Justine Bennett here on the Jake Feinberg Show.
It's better.
Rogue musician. She's ready to... I just want her to introduce the song, and she's been on the road a lot, second in command, with Jacob Dylan, singing in a lot of blending trio music, and sort of doing her thing and inspiring people to be themselves, and just having a ball with her. You ready to go?
I think so, yeah.
All right.
This is new. The melody changed. Well, my friend that came over to help me, she made a little melody edit also. So I'll try to do it with a new melody edit.
Do your thing. The floor is yours.
I wrote this song, I guess it was last week, and I wanted to just express how important it is to take time to just be in quiet, and just to take a break, to be able to think about like life's bigger things. So this one's called "Will We Be All Right?" In the early morning when I rise, covered up in stillness where I lie, until the quiet hour, the lightning showers of light. Will we be alright? In the quiet evening when the sky turns into the colors of the night. Oh, how I wonder if I will ever understand life. Will we be alright? Silence brings the knowing of things that get left behind when you're caught in the grind. But if we stay calm, decide not to stop, we might never come up to the light. Will we be alright? In the gentle shelter of your arms, with promises to keep me safe from harm. For when the water rises and the mother, will we be alright? Will we be alright? Will we be
Music on the Jake Feinberg Show, brought to you by Abbott Taylor Jewelers, Dr. Diggs and Diggs Dental, and Craig Pretzinger of Allstate Insurance. Can't thank them enough for allowing us to allow people like Justine Bennett to rock us to sleep. But not in a bad way. Angels rock us to sleep with an absolutely. This was beneath the earth. I'm just floored. This is just, and you were. It sounded that you kind of practiced it, but you haven't over practiced. Like it still sounds incredibly ripe and fresh, and you
Definitely not over practiced it.
It just. It's just. Justine, I just want to wrap up now. I just want to go home with this feeling now.
Thank you so much for your encouragement and for doing this. You're doing a great service. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate you. And we'll do it again, all right?
Let's do it again.
All right.
Have a great night.
Yeah, bless you, Justine. Thank you so much for healing me.
You're welcome.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye. Justine Bennett, on her way. Will we be all right? Rest in peace, Neil Casal, man. Your spirit's always in me. This is the Jake Feinberg Show. See you later.
war was over and the spirit was broken. The hills were smoking as the men withdrew. We stood on the cliffs and watched the ships slowly sinking to their rendezvous. They signed a treaty and our homes were taken. Loved ones forsaken, they didn't give a damn. Try to raise a family, end up the enemy over what went down on the plains of Abraham. Acadian driftwood, gypsy tailwind, they call my home the land of snow. Canadian cold front rolling in, what a way to ride, oh what a way to go. Then some return to the motherland. The high command had them cast away. And some stayed on